Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at a technology that is poised to change, well, pretty much everything. We're going beyond the chatbots you know and into the world of AI agents. AI that doesn't just talk, it actually acts. I mean, you've probably used a chatbot, right? And they're impressive. They can write poetry, they can code, they can answer unbelievably complex questions. But what if I told you that that's all just the warm-up act? There's a new kind of AI coming that doesn't just hand you answers, it actually goes out and gets things done for you. Okay, let's break this down because it's a really important distinction. Think of a standard chatbot as this brilliant librarian. You ask a question and it can find you any piece of information from its vast, vast library of knowledge. But an AI agent, that's like a personal assistant. It takes that information, physically leaves the library, and then goes and executes tasks for you out in the real world. That's the real game changer here. Autonomy, the ability to act on its own to achieve a goal. So what exactly is an AI agent when you get down to it? Let's get a really clear definition on the table. So here's the formal definition. But the words you really got to focus on are autonomously and tools. An agent isn't just following some pre-written script. No, it is actively creating its own plan and using resources, like a search engine, a calendar app, or even a booking website to complete a goal that you've set for it. But how do they do that, right? How does an agent go from a simple request like, plan me a trip, to a fully completed, complex task without someone holding its hand every single step of the way? Well, it all comes down to a three-stage process: plan, reason, and learn. First, it plans by breaking down a big, hairy goal into smaller, bite-sized steps. Then, it reasons, figuring out what it needs to know and using its tools to go find that information, like, say, searching the web for flight prices. And finally, and this is the really cool part, it learns from feedback to get better, just like you and me. That core loop is what makes them so incredibly powerful. To really see how this works, let's make it practical. Imagine you give an agent a pretty complex goal. Find the absolute best week next year for a surfing trip to Greece. What's so fascinating here is seeing how the agent thinks. It actually understands its own limits. It knows it's not a weather expert, so what does it do? It pulls data from a weather API. It doesn't know the best surf spots off the top of its head, so it might actually talk to another specialized surfing AI. It's like an intelligence coordinator, gathering everything it needs from all these different sources to give you the best possible recommendation. But here's the thing, agent isn't some one-size-fits-all term. They actually exist on a whole spectrum, from really simple rule followers to incredibly complex adaptive systems. So let's take a look at the 5 main types. Okay, so at the most basic level, you've got the simple reflex agent. This thing is a pure stimulus response system. If this, then that. If it's 8 p.m., turn on the heat. That's it. It has no memory of what happened yesterday, and it's certainly not planning for tomorrow. A step up from that is the model-based agent, which crucially adds memory. It keeps track of the state of the world, kind of like a robot vacuum creating a map of your room so it doesn't just clean the same spot over and over again. Now, goal-based agents are way more proactive. Think about your GPS. It isn't just reacting to the next turn. It has a map of the entire city, and it's constantly planning the best route to get you to your final destination. The utility-based agent takes things even further. It doesn't just find a path to the goal, it finds the best path based on what you value the most. It'll weigh different factors like time versus cost to maximize your utility or, your satisfaction. And at the very top, we have the learning agent. This is the AI that literally gets smarter the more you use it. Think about how a streaming service's recommendations just get better and better over time. It learns from your feedback and adapts its whole strategy to serve you better. So this increasing sophistication, it brings incredible potential, right? But it also brings pretty significant risks. What does a world with millions of these autonomous agents actually look like? On the one hand, the promise is just immense. We're talking about automating hugely complex business processes at scale, achieving way better results by having agents collaborate with each other and getting hyper-personalized, super accurate answers to our problems. But with all this power comes some very real dangers. Without the right guardrails, agents can get stuck in infinite loops. A single tiny flaw can crash an entire system of agents, and this is a big one. Giving them access to sensitive information without proper oversight creates massive privacy risks. And this quote from IBM really just hits the nail on the head. The core challenge is that their behavior can be unpredictable. And that is a huge concern when you're dealing with sensitive customer data or high-stakes financial decisions.
So, how do we get all the power while managing all that risk? This brings us to the absolutely crucial need for some new rules of the road as we start to deploy these systems.
Well, experts have identified 4 key best practices. First up, transparency, so we can actually see how an agent made a decision. Second, control, basically a human off switch. Third, accountability, so we can trace actions back to their source. And most importantly, direct human supervision for any high-impact actions. Ultimately, the takeaway here is crystal clear. As these agents become more and more capable and autonomous, human judgment and oversight become more important, not less. Look, this technology isn't science fiction anymore. It is arriving right now. It is absolutely set to reshape how we all work and live. The only question left is, are we ready for it?